Thanks for staying with us. The former Voice of Nigeria DG, Osita Okechukwu, criticized the People's Democratic Party, PDP, for Nigeria's perceived shift towards a one-party state. He argued that PDP's culture of impunity and failure to uphold rotational policy or politics led to its decline, allowing APC dominance. Okechukwu accused PDP of neglecting its opposition role, favoring stomach infrastructure syndrome instead. On addressing economic hardship, he cited APC initiatives, including reduced fuel prices, ranching solutions, and foreign investment in electricity, railways, and seaports to alleviate current challenges. Our guest this morning is Comrade Mark Adebayo, the national spokesperson, CUPP, the Coalition of United Political Parties. Good morning and welcome to the program, sir.
Good morning and thanks for having me.
Good morning.
You've heard all the things that the ex-Von DG has mentioned that the APC is doing, but our focus mostly is on the fact that we are sliding into a one-party state, and he is blaming all of that on the PDP. So before we go into the APC's achievements, according to him, let's x-ray his comment that it is the PDP's fault, their impunity and everything, that's what is making Nigeria to slide into a one-party state.
He might say that, considering his position and the party he belongs to. But there is a deliberate policy by the APC to turn Nigeria into a one-party state. And this process began in 2020. You know, immediately after the 2019 general elections, APC came into power. One of the first assignments they did was to begin to attack the our multi-party democratic system. You know, by registering, 74 political parties in one fell swoop. The pressure on them to register political parties. You know why they did that was because all these parties came together under Coalition of United Political Parties, and they saw that coalition as a threat to their political dominance on the politics of Nigeria. So that was why they orchestrated the registration of 74 political parties. That's how they started, planning this, going towards zeroing into one-party state. And what have they been doing thereafter? The Tinubu government came in. What they have been doing is to scuttle the activities of opposition political parties by sending agent provocateurs into those opposition parties to cause crisis and chaos in Labour Party, to cause crisis and chaos in PDP. Yes, to some extent, one of the areas I agree with Mr. Osita Okechukwu was in the area of the fact that the PDP mismanaged the opportunities available to it as the flagship of opposition political parties in this country. They did not learn from the APC, how the APC came together, brought in political heavyweights and other people or coalition partners of political parties and dethroned PDP from power. They did not, I mean, that is one big error on their part. They did not learn from that. They did not galvanize other political parties into a united opposition political front to be able to give the APC the run for its money. And is paying the price for that now. That is quite unfortunate. That is something that nobody can run away from. But on the deliberate policy of turning Nigeria into a one-party state, it is a deliberate policy of the APC government to ensure that there was no way they could have been winning elections the way they claim to have been winning in Edo, and then he's talking about what achievements. The biggest achievement of the APC government has been the aggressive impoverishment of Nigerians, the aggressive retrogression of Nigeria as a country, destruction of the economy. Those are the achievements. Those are the basic and fundamental achievements of the APC: insecurity, bad economy, poverty, hunger in the land, disunity in the land. That has been their fundamental achievements. Unemployment, inflation at 37%. So what achievement is he talking about? So what they have been doing is to use the power of incumbency, federal mind and then a heavily prebendalized system of buying voters, to win elections. These ones that have governors that cannot read budgets, These ones that have, I mean, what are we talking about? Who will vote willingly, freely for the APC in this country? Nobody. Under this atrocious economic situation, under this kind of political mess, who will vote for APC? So they know that. That is why they don't want any alternative. They don't want any alternative political engagement that can make them lose elections. So they want to make sure they muzzle. They want to make sure to deteriorate the opposition political parties so that they will have free reign to win elections in the country. So it is their own deliberate policy. Yes, the opposition, PDP especially, has made some mistakes, committed some errors, messed up certain opportunities that are supposed to have aggregated. But in terms of going towards one party state, that is a major agenda of the APC. And we will not sit back and allow it to happen. No,
all right.
No way.
When you were talking, I was just laughing. The description of APC on things is very funny. The last president, Muhammadu Buhari, said the IGP, to show that he was working, the IGP was was having a slim stature. That shows that he was working very hard. And now, to be able to read figures, it means that you're a thief, as explained by the APC in this administration when you talked about a governor who couldn't read figures. He said that because he's not a thief, he has not stolen before, that's why he carried. So anytime I'm reading the news, for instance, and I'm reading out the figures, I'm like, oh, see, you're alive outside. So that's what it is.
Anyways, I mean, listening to what you have said, you're obviously speaking about the APC, the agenda, and of course now even the ex-DG, right, is saying so it was the PDP who allowed us to drift into this. But what is the role of the Electoral Commission and the judiciary in all of this? Because I think everybody has a hand in this. If we're drifting into a one-party state, these are people who probably had to elect these same people, and then even if you don't win, they tell you go to court. So the judiciary system also has a hand in this. I want to get your take.
Well, you see, the EMB, the Election Management Body, has a big role to play. The INEC has to refuse to be used by the powers that be to truncate the activities of political parties, as they did in 2020. There's no democracy anywhere in the world where the political parties are deregistered. What happens is that the political parties survive or quench on the political field of elections. If you don't have relevance, there are over 200 political parties in UK. There are more than 300 political parties in the US, but we hear only of the Democratic Party and the Republican parties because they are the ones, and then independents. They are the ones who are making the waves. Nobody hears of other political parties. Same way in the UK, you have of the Labour Party, you have of the Conservative Party. Whereas there are almost 200 other political parties that nobody hears of. They will fizzle out on their own. You do not deregister a properly, legally, constitutionally registered political party. But because the APC has an agenda to kill other political parties, so it will remain only APC. That is the agenda. That's what they are scattering Labour. That's what they are scattering PDP and the rest of that. And they are already planning again. Out of we have 19 now. Political parties remaining. They are also planning to probably make sure that the register some. But this is counterproductive. I lost track of that. Your question.
The judiciary as well. The judiciary, because most times they tell you go to court.
So that is why it is not only INEC.
Yes.
No, we say INEC. INEC is not the only commission that is conducting or supervising, coordinating elections in this country. INEC is there, the judiciary is there, the police is there, even the army is there. You understand? Because they are the ones to provide the security. And where an incumbent wants to, encourage voter apathy, they will make sure security personnel discourage people from coming out. There will be a show of force, there will be a show of power, and the rest of that. So, especially the police. The police was used to truncate the Second Republic, by what happened in Ondo State under the infamous IGP Adewusi. They used the mobile policemen to terrorize the people, to force election results on the people. And now we have been seeing some signs and signals of that in the pockets of elections in this country, including the presidential election. So you understand? So the judiciary, which is supposed to be the last bastion, the last hope of the common man, the bastion of justice, where we must see the scales of justice to be balanced. It doesn't seem to be doing so well when it comes to election litigation. Because at the end of the day, when people say go to court, because they know what they will do. They know what they will do. You may vilify deliver to me as you want. You may say that he wrote unsubstantiable things or exposés in his book. I don't know. I wouldn't know whether I will be able to substantiate some of the things he claimed. But we know that these things happen. We know that these things happen. We know that things happen, in the judiciary that are not supposed to be happening. You understand? So the judiciary, the day we shouldn't be allowed the judiciary actually to be determining the outcome of our elections. Look at what happened in Imo State. Somebody who's number 4 now became the governor. Well, how did we arrive at that? So you will see that people lay ambush at the judiciary, say go to court because they know what they are going to perfect. The perfidy that they are going there to perfect. That is my suspicion of what is happening. Now, if we have a just, balanced, equitable, principled judiciary that refuses to be compromised, we might just see the end of election rigging and resource rigging in Nigeria. So we need to encourage our judiciary to be above board. We need to encourage our judiciary to be just. We need to encourage our judiciary to clean up and deliver justice not to the highest bidder, but to the person that deserves it.
Yeah, well, I hope that happens. Benin Republic has just come here to learn from INEC, and I don't know what they're learning, but they just came here with a delegation from their electoral body to learn from INEC. So maybe we are really doing something that is good.
We're amazing.
Amazing is the word. Yeah, thank you. That's what they're doing.
Well, I remember one of the infamous chairman of INEC, former chairman of INEC, Morris, who said America will come to Nigeria to learn from our electoral processes. Very funny people. You look at the ridiculous claim that a governor could not read budget because he has not stolen money before. Just say that this guy is a semi-literate. He's semi-literate. He couldn't read figures. He doesn't know his arithmetic. Maybe he never went to primary school or anything. He couldn't read. He said because he never stole money. Well, why did you take a job when you know that you will read figures, but you don't know how to read figures? You don't know how to pronounce things. You don't know how to look at during this campaign. You know how many he goofed on so many occasions on live television. Now when a budget supposedly prepared and written by him, I can bet you probably somebody, one special assistant or senior special assistant somewhere, sat down somewhere, wrote it, and they did not school him. They didn't have the time to school him in the art of pronouncement of figures. So he got there and embarrassed himself, embarrassed his state all over the world. And somebody said it's because he had not stolen money before. What the heck? How do they've rendered everything, they have ridiculed everything, they have ridiculed public service, they have ridiculed democracy, they have ridiculed election, they are ridiculing our intelligence. These guys, instead of to keep quiet, they open their mouth and
it's not something that will hold water. Nigerians know what it is, but he's going to be there for the next 4 years. But my question right now is, you were talking about the fact that PDP mismanaged the opportunity they had and that they did not learn opposition politics from the APC. What exactly do you think? When I hear people say this, I ask myself, what is it that the other oppositions now should have learned from APC that is good enough to use as opposition? APC came into power with very, very negative propaganda. Is that what should be learned? They came in with a lot of lies. Is that what should be learned? Because if we're learning something from them, what are these things exactly that should have been learned? They were the ones who were protesting on the streets and all that, and then we are not doing it now. We're taking it as civilly as possible. And whenever we try to do that, they clamp us down. So what are we supposed to have learned? By we now, I mean everybody else that is not APC, that wants Nigeria to thrive, not just PDP. What is it that should have been learned from the APC when they were opposition party that would be good enough for our democracy?
No, we just have to take the positives and leave the negatives. And the only positive they have is only one. You understand? You leave the negatives, you leave the propaganda, the falsehood, the lies, and the daily dishing out of unthinkable falsehoods. No, you leave those ones out. You leave the blackmail and all these things. You leave all those ones out. But I think they succeeded in galvanizing the other political parties around themselves to form the APC. PDP has not done that. Like I told you, they did it in 2019, but immediately after the election, they dumped all the political parties. 74 of them were registered. They didn't care a hoot about them. Now, even in the field that they have now, what did they, when did you hear that the PDP has called a meeting of opposition political parties? When? They don't care. The 2023 election, they thought they could go it alone. They thought and they were taught a bitter lesson. They thought they could go it alone. They didn't go into coalition. They didn't go into any kind of alliance with other political parties. They thought they could go it alone. Yeah, but what happened to them? So if they had galvanized, if they had coordinated and brought, that is what APC did. That is one thing positive about them. Bringing in, various, shares of opinion together, bringing in people from various strata, political organizations, political parties, political, big wigs together to form one massive opposition machinery that ran PDP out of power. They should have learned from that, get all these parties together, bring them together and form a powerful coalition. Maybe call it mega party, call it anything. And then you go and move a party that wants to win power does not behave the way PDP is behaving today. They ignore the rest of us. They don't care about other political parties. Now, even up to now, they have not learned the lesson. What does it take for the PDP to call for a meeting, bring in APM, Z Labour Party, the YPP, the YP, bring in APA and co. Bring all these parties together and say, look, guys, NNPP, let's sit down and marshal a plan. Yeah, but what are they doing? They think they can win election by extrasensory perception. You don't win election by extrasensory perception.
But is this thing you're saying possible is this thing you're saying possible, Comrade Mark? Is this thing you're saying possible in light of the fact that you have also made a comment that some of these political parties and the people who are fronted are just moles that are sent by the same APC? So how do you think this will work when we are not even sure of the integrity of any of these political parties that we are supposed to bring together? In the time of PDP, there was some kind of independence. There was some kind of freedom to do what you could do. And that's why they were able to galvanize this. So how do you go to call a party that maybe their chieftain was planted there by APC? How will it work? I'm just saying.
You may be right about it, but you see, look, it is not something that is not doable, which is quite doable. Where there's a will, there's a way. Where there's a will, there's a way. There's a way they can galvanize the opposition and do things right. There's a way they can do that. But they are not even thinking about it. That's the problem. They're not even thinking about it. They're not even talking about it. I have it on good authority. A major opposition figure in this country who was a presidential candidate in this country said it, that, and is a member of the PDP, that he does not believe in multi-party democracy. And that is why he was calling the rest of us mushroom political parties. Is that the kind of person that will galvanize and mobilize other political opposition parties to form a united front? So they themselves, they are a problem to themselves. And I don't care what they say, I blame the PDP for it, because look, they could have avoided what is happening now. They could have avoided what is happening now. I blame them for not galvanizing other political parties. I blame them for ignoring the rest of us. I blame them for neglecting the rest of us. Because whether you like it or not, the PDP is the biggest opposition political party in this country, in spite and despite the crisis that they have. They have more than 10 governors, or about 10 governors. There are things they could do. They could come together and do things, despite all the agent provocateurs in some of the opposition political parties. They can still do it. They can still manage the crisis. Will somebody like former His Excellency Atiku Abubakar say that he does not have enough political experience, to be able to take care of business in terms of these things? In terms of galvanizing, organizing, coordinating our opposition political party into one big machinery to confront the APC in 2027. Already, somebody, well, I don't want to go there. Already, the way they are even conducting themselves, their affairs, they are already, in a way, living. an incumbent party will not go. They will not hand over power to you. They will not say. They will not. You are those who are in opposition. They were so effective. You think they will get into government and just come and give you power a la carte? We need to organize rather than agonizing. But there must be leadership. You understand? There must be leadership. And the people that are supposed to take leadership on some of these things that we are talking about are sleeping. They are in slumber. They are slumbering away. And they are hoping. They are hoping that by some, I don't know, maybe by some divine intervention or by some accident, they can get to power. No. You see, Donald Trump started campaigning 4 years ago. Started campaigning. In fact, before he left office, he was already campaigning for his election. Before he left office, you know. So those are the things, the cumulative effect of all those things. In spite and despite all the allegations against him, all the things against him, I'm not a big fan of Donald Trump, but he knows what to do to win an election. He knows what the current president of Nigeria. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu knows how to win elections. The only thing that does not know how to manage the country. He doesn't know how to manage the country. He doesn't know how to manage the economy. He doesn't know how to govern, but he knows how to win elections. Do you understand? That is one thing you cannot take away from him. He knows how to win elections. But like the white were telling Nelson Mandela that yes, Nelson Mandela could win election, but can he govern? So we have a situation where we have a president who knows how to win election back to back 10 times, 20 times. You win it if you allow him to win it, and until you come out to fight him. The mere fact that Labour Party was able to defeat Tinubu in Lagos gives us a panoramic view of the possibility of defeating him and defeating APC in an election. If we come together, get our acts together, and people that are supposed to do so provide the right leadership. That is it. So, those are things. Right. We need to take things. We need to use the sword of APC to defeat APC in the election.
Okay, so I understand.
Not by engaging in their negativity.
Yeah. I mean, you've really stressed the point of having a very strong opposition. And of course, if we're going to have a strong opposition, then we can have a better Nigeria, because we're having different ideas and different people coming together to ensure the growth of a nation. But aside galvanizing, you know, the opposition, having to have this very strong alliance with the different opposition parties, what other reforms do you think we need to have to strengthen our democracy in Nigeria, especially if we're saying we do not want a one-party state?
Well, the first thing is that now I'm happy that INEC is making efforts to say, okay, there should be a regulation, there should be law, that beavers must be a constitutional thing, not an optional thing. One of the reforms is the fact that we should just make sure that our elections and votes count by electronic means. If we are able to find a way to bypass the human factor of manipulation of result, we will have gotten there. You will see that our result will reflect the will of the people. Number two, which is the elephant in the room, is to kill the idea and the practice, rather, of vote buying and vote selling.
Yeah.
You know? So that is you see, people will leave their houses determined that I'm going to vote for party A. They get to polling unit, somebody gives them 10,000, 5,000. The other person is giving you 1,000, 2,000. You now begin to vote for the highest bidder. All they are after is one meal, stomach infrastructure. That for that day I will eat. I will be they will mortgage their entire 4 years.
Sure.
But our people, you see, it also has to do. We need a lot of work to do at the level of opposition and the civil society. A lot of work to do, a lot of awareness campaign to do. You remember, you see what happened in Ghana. People, they went to give them rice. Some of them collected the rice. Some of them were throwing the rice back at them, and they went to the polls and voted their will. I hope Nigeria will get to that, because as much as we can be shouting about the electoral management body, we are talking about the police, we are talking about the people in power and the rest of that. Also, our attitude as a people, as the electorate, is very, very important. But how do the people know if you don't tell them? How will the people know if they don't have an awareness? How will the people know if they don't have sufficient political literacy to be able to make an informed choice at elections? So we have a lot of work to do.
All right, we have a lot. We'll have a lot of work to do, especially in education. But if we can be in like 30 seconds, because our time is up. what do you think about two-party system like we had in NRC and SDP? Some people have said that will make for a good opposition and all that, so we should have just two parties instead of floating so many parties that may not have a voice. What is your take on two-party system? As quickly as possible, sir.
I don't believe in constitutional limitation of the number of political parties. I believe in free democracy and multi-party democracy. So, like I said, the two parties ruling in the USA and the UK, these two parties are not commandeered by law or constitutionally decreed into power. You will either survive or fizzle out on the strength of your capacity to manage your political party. So leave it free. Don't, if you say two political parties, then you now, if you have only two political parties, somebody like you and me will not be able to contest any election because the money bags we are jacked with two political parties. It is when you have multi-party system that anybody you can join a political party of your choice that aligns with your ideology, and then you can now develop from there.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Comrade Adebayo, for coming on the show. It's always a pleasure having you join us on the program.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Plus TV Africa, the flagship of pro-people programming in Nigeria. Thank you so much. Kudos.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. We've been talking with Comrade Mark Adebayo, National Spokesperson for the Coalition of United Political Parties, and we'll take a short break now. When we return, we'll be looking at OPS, fearing that SMEs will collapse as cash scarcity lingers. Stay with us.